Hi everybody and welcome back to Stacy So and So. Glad you decided to come back and join me again today. I know we've been talking about inserting patch pockets into this cardigan, and I want you to know I have made a final decision on whether I was going to do inseam pockets or patch pockets. And the answer is neither. And I will tell you why. First, I'll stand up and I'll show you. I really thought inseam would be the best because if I did patchwork pockets, I have this detailing here already. I also have some on the front left. Then there's also the patchwork, the elbow patches. And so I thought that doing the patch pockets on the front, it would just detract from what I've already done and maybe just be a little too much. So I thought, okay, inseam pockets are the way to go. Or so I thought. Here's the problem. So if I stand up, you can see the seam is back here. So my pocket, it would be like this. I don't want to put my hands behind my back. So although I think, in many instances, pockets are a great thing, I think they're just not right for this garment. So we're going to put that on the back burner until I find an appropriate project. And then we'll move on with doing like some patchwork pockets that you can add to items that you already have that you're upcycling, or, if it's a garment you're making brand new. So, but let's talk about patches, because obviously patchwork and patches and plaid and paisley and all these things are items that I just love, as if you can't tell. Like, for instance, the shirt that's over my shoulder. This was an upcycle project that I was a men's dress shirt. I think it was a size extra large. And I took it and turned it into a tunic for a woman. I did a video, there's a few videos back on how to take a men's dress shirt and turn it into a tunic with elastic neck and elasticated sleeves. And I could have just put in any panel of fabric, but I chose to make this patchwork because I thought it was so pretty. So other things that I have enjoyed, making out of patchwork are, of course, tote bags, because you can never have too many tote bags. And isn't that gorgeous? And this is using, you know what? Majority of all this fabric that you see on here was leftover scrap from back when everybody had to wear masks and we were all panicking trying to make them. And I ended up with a lot of scrap fabric. And so I made this tote bag. I like the pom-poms on it too. I just think it's fun. Canvas lined. So tote bags are another great way to use patches and patchwork. And then I'm going to show you something I have in the corner. I'll have to turn the camera around for you to see it. This past week I was thinking, because most of the patchwork stuff I do it's cotton, but I also sew with a lot of flannel. Like, for instance, this cardigan, I make this style cardigan often for my shop, and I use fleece or flannel. And I still have actually quite a sizable mound of leftover and scrap flannel. And I was thinking, I'm like, what can I do with this? Because I don't have enough to make a full garment. And I'm like, well, I really want to do something with it. So let me show you what I decided to try. I'm really pleased with the way it turned out. So I'd be curious to see what you think. Hold on just a second, and I will turn the camera around so that you can see my cardigan of many colors. You can see my mannequin Betty is modeling it. And these are all pieces of flannel that I had. And I'd seen a picture in a catalog that was very similar, and I thought, I wonder if I could recreate that in flannel. And the answer is yes, I can. So I've tried it now with the flannel, and I think the next when I try the cardigan, I want to try is using up all of the, because I have a lot of fleece scrap as well. Again, some are decent sized pieces, but not necessarily enough to make an entire garment with. And I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to give that a try too. So I will let you know how that turns out. I'm trying to, of course, right now get ready for events because we're heading into the holidays. So I will be doing a fall festival that's coming up October 7th. And so I'll be taking a lot of these patchwork items with me. But I was also thinking, I'm like, what are some other things I can take with me that are patchwork that people might enjoy? One thing that's not patchwork that I know people will like are, I've made a bunch of headbands. These are, I do holiday headbands. I do them year round. So I've got all of the Halloween ones ready to go. These are Valentine, so those are next to be sewn. And this is, well, it could be 4th of July, it could be Labor Day, it could be any number of red, white, and blue style holidays. And I've got Christmas all sewn together. Now they just have to be turned and assembled into headbands. So working on that. But what are some patchwork items that I could take with me? I've been thinking about it. It's like, because I'm not, not everybody wants a cardigan. Not everybody wants a large piece. So I will be doing some other smaller items. And I thought I would show you one particular item I'll be making, and then I'll show you how to make it in case you want to make some for yourself. So obviously I do a lot of, like I said, elbow patches because of, constantly sitting like this. I shouldn't do it. I know it's bad for my posture. But, if you don't have time, or maybe you don't want to do a whole bunch of little patchwork, pieces and sew them together, decorative stitch, totally understand, because not everybody has that time. So I was at Walmart, and I was walking past their fabric section. I think I was actually there to get some rickrack. And they had some fabric bundles that they were selling. And they had the Pioneer Woman's fabric out. And there was one that was patchwork. It looked like patchwork. And I thought, oh, that's really pretty. I like that. Like, I'm just going to get it because I'm not sure what I'll make with it. But when I found fabric that I really like, I go ahead and get a couple yards because I just never know what I'm going to do with it. So I decided to make an elbow patch out of it. So this one looks like I took time to put a bunch of patches together. But the fabric was already woven that way. And then just for a little extra added touch, because if you have a sewing machine, then you have certain decorative stitches that just come standard on your machine. So that's what I did. I used the white. Actually, you might be able to see it on the back better. There we go. So I followed the line for each patch and did just a decorative stitch. So it looks like I stitched them together. So I thought that turned out really cute. And I'm going to put that on. This is beautiful. It feels like cashmere. It's not cashmere. But I'm going to put the elbow patches on this sweater. It really pulls out the green and the roses and the patches. The other thing I thought, because I was going through my fabric, because I have a rather sizable fabric stash, and I'm making a dedicated effort this year to sew from my stash as much as possible. Because what's the point of me having the fabric if I'm not using it, right? So this fabric was given to me, my Aunt Debbie gave this to me, oh gosh, I don't know, back in 2017, 16, something like that. And I've used some of the fabric she gave me, but I haven't used all of it. And I was waiting for the right project for this piece. I love this material. Isn't it pretty? Light gray, mauve, pink, and yes, that is it's a muted sort of metallic gold. And I love the little pattern. So I backed it, and I don't know if you can see the little crisscross. I followed the lines, the diagonal lines in between, and it just gave it a little bit more visual interest. And it's going to look gorgeous on this. This is another cardigan that I'm making. This is sweater material. It's a very nice kind of cotton mix, sort of a pointelle. But look how beautiful those patches will be on the elbow of this cardigan. I mean, I love it. It's going to be really hard not to keep it. But I already own a cardigan this color. That's what I keep telling myself. So I don't need it. Now, as I've told you, I make a lot of these cardigans and sell them in my shop. I have I have several. I have one, two, I'm looking at them right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 2 flannel ones over there, 2 fleece ones, and then I have one that is actually, it's Italian wool cashmere. I last year participated, if you saw my videos, from early January. So it wasn't last year. It was earlier this year. It feels like last year. In Jacket January. And I made a coat. And I had enough of my fabric left over from my coat to make a cardigan. And I want to put patchwork on the elbow too, like, you know, elbow patches. And at first I had thought about, hold on, let me grab my little patches here. I thought about doing a series of, so that it's like this kind of patch, and do a series of different kinds of blues. And I thought that would be really cute. But I'm like, is that too monochromatic? Too tone on tone? I'm like, I kind of like that look too. But then I was looking through my stash. As I said, I have a sizable stash. And I found this material. I forgot I had it. I made bucket hats out of this, and I still have quite a bit left. It is vintage material from the probably 1970s is going to be my guess. It is a cotton blend. I'm going to guess it's poly cotton. And so this side will be plaid. I am going to back it with the blue. So I want to show you how I made this so you can follow along. These are really easy. Like I said, I thought these would be really cute on the sweaters, but I'm also thinking about making little kits because I know not everybody has time to make the little patches and sew them together and do the detailing. I get that. But practicality, you might need elbow patches, or you just want to add them because it adds some visual interest to, you know, the garment. So I will show you how to do these, and then maybe if we have time, because I don't want this to run too long, I will show you how to put them on. If not, then, you know, that may be something I cover in a future video. So let's get started on learning how to make elbow patches. Okay, so let's go over what you're going to need to make your elbow patches. First thing is you're going to need something that you can make a template with. Now I used an old file folder, so make sure you find like an old file folder, a piece of cardboard, or something like that, because we'll go over how to measure and make your template. So that means you're also going to need a ruler and a pencil. Then for making your actual elbow patch, once you make your template, you're going to need a pair of scissors. You're going to need your fabric, the outer fabric and a backing fabric. And then you're also going to need coordinating thread or contrasting thread. It really just depends on what look you're going for. So first, let's go over how I made this template. Now, you can see on mine, it includes, I put on here that I included a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So the first thing I did was, and I'm just going to use a piece of fabric. Now make sure that you also have a pair of scissors to cut this out that are not your good fabric scissors. You don't want to use these to cut, you know, your good fabric scissors for cutting cardboard. So the first thing I did was I tried to decide like how big I was going to want my circle. And I'm put my glasses on for this. So this ends up being 4 3/4 width, and on the long end it is 6.5. You can make them any size that you want. So the easiest thing you can do then is lay out your ruler once you've determined how big you want it to be. So let's just say you want it to be, let's say 4.5. So draw a line for 4.5 inches. Here we go. And then let's say you want the long end to be, we'll say 6.5. Okay. So we're going to say, we're going to find the center of our paper, and we're going to do 6.5. Mark it on either end. Now, all I did once I made my cross, because you want to make sure you're in the center of your paper. So you have a line going this way, and then you'll have a line going this way. Then all I did was just make little tiny dashes like this and went all the way around until I saw my oval form, then I just simply cut it out. Now I did erase all of my little lines, just, I don't know, just because, but that's the easiest way to do it. So once you find the center of your paper, figure out how long you want it to be, put a line, find the center of your paper, of your line, this way and this way. So here we are. And then you'll draw your line, then make simple little, dash lines all the way around, and then eventually you can just fill them in or go ahead and cut them out. And that's a very quick way to make a template. And I don't want to cut this because this is actually something that I need for later on for another project, so I don't want to cut up my envelope. Okay, so now we have our template. And the first thing, the easiest way to do this, because you're going to want to, obviously, keep your fabric folded in half. I'm not even going to pull all of this out because there's still a lot of fabric here. There we go. So this is doubled fabric. You can see where I've cut on it before, where I was cutting out a hat. So you want to make sure, there we go. Yep, enough fabric on the bottom piece and enough fabric on the top piece. Because these don't take up a lot of room. So once you do this, you're going to pin it in place. And then you're going to cut this out. And it will give you two because you have it laid on fabric that's folded over. Okay? So do that first, and then we'll pull out our other fabric. So now I have my backing fabric, and you can see that this was actually the lining I think I used for those bucket hats. But again, it's doubled fabric, so you can see, here we go. So I have two pieces, a top piece and a bottom piece, because again, you're going to want two pieces, one for each elbow. So I'm just going to place it to make sure I have it in a place where I have fabric, two pieces of fabric, one on top of the other. And we're going to do that again. So pin it in place and then cut all the way around the edges. And then meet me back here and we'll talk about how to pin it together and how to sew it. Okay, so we have two of our outer pieces and two of our backing pieces. So what you're going to do is you're going to put right sides together. So this is the right side of this fabric and this is the right side of this one. So you're going to put them together like this. And then I just like to pin them in place so that they don't come apart as I'm getting to the machine. Make sure they're nicely lined up. There we go. And we'll do the same with this one. So we'll make sure that they're lined up and that we just pin them together. And since they're not big, I really just need a pin at the top and a pin at the bottom. Now, what you're going to do is sew 1/4 inch. Remember, I left a 1/4 inch seam allowance on mine, and hopefully you did too. So what you're going to do is you're going to come in 1/4 inch and you're going to sew all the way around, except you're going to have to leave a space about that big so that you can turn it right side out. So to help you remember to do that, sometimes it's a good idea to have different color pins. So I often use red because red gets my attention and makes me stop. So I'm going to put one here. There we go. And another one right here. All right, we can do that on both. And that now says I'm going to start here. I'm going to sew all the way around and I'm going to get to here and I'm going to stop. And it's going to leave my space for turning. And I'll do the same thing on here. So let's go ahead and stitch around both of our elbow patches and meet back here. Okay, so now you have both of them sewn together. I did it in white. Not that it's going to matter because no one's going to see the stitch anyway. But I did these in whites just so you can easily see where I've sewn them together. Now, take your scissors and just, without cutting into your stitches, just put a few little snips. This will help when you turn them to help them keep that nice rounded shape. There we go. And we'll do this one too. And you don't have to do many. Let's just be very careful that you don't cut into the stitches that you just made. Okay, almost there. All right, now we are going to turn these. So you left that about 1 inch or so gap. So now all you have to do is turn them right side out. You might want to have like a chopstick or some sort of turning tool just to press everything out nice and round. But truth is, these are small enough that you can really just use your finger. As you can see, that's what I'm doing, and it's working out just fine. Let's get this up here. Here we go. So you'll have that one little opening. So what you want to do is just make sure the fabric is turned under like so, because it'll kind of fall in the way, just the way it's supposed to, because you're just going to fold and fold and then put those two pieces, those folds together, and you're going to just sew that around, because we are going to top stitch all the way around these. So I'm going to just put a little pin in there to remind me where that is, because that's where I'm going to start. So first thing you're going to want to do is press this with a sewing machine. Okay? Then press with a sewing machine. I'm having one of those days. You're just going to press this with an iron, and then you're going to use your sewing machine and top stitch all the way around, ensuring that you close up the little area that you left open for turning. And you're going to do the same thing on this. We're going to turn it right side out. There we go. Like I said, I think it's just as easy with these to use a finger, but you can pull a chopstick or whatever you like to use. Just kind of really press out that seam really, really well. Again, you have the opening that you left for turning. Make sure the fabric is turned in on both the top fabric and the bottom fabric. And they just really kind of fall right in line with each other. There we go. So again, take this to your ironing board and your iron and just press it down really good. I am going to go ahead, like I said, and put a pin in that opening just so I know where it is, because once you press it, it does stay down very well. Sometimes you don't notice it. Okay, so we have this. We have 2 elbow patches. We're going to iron these and then top stitch all the way around, and then with these you'll be done. So meet me back here. And there we go. We have 2 elbow patches. So let me hold that up so you can see a little bit better. And you are done. Now you can, if you want to, I don't think it's necessary on a plaid like this, but if you have a pattern that you really want to kind of stand out a little bit more, you could definitely do like some diagonal stripes on here, or follow the line of the stripes and put some stitches going straight across and up and down if you wanted to have a little bit of texture. But I don't think that for these that would be necessary. So I hope you enjoyed our little tutorial on how to make elbow patches. I wanted to talk about something else too, because I told you that in addition to the flannel, and this is actually kind of like a sweatshirt jersey, I also do fleece cardigans, and I do want to do elbow patches for them as well. So let me kind of show you what I've done. I have, well, let me grab one of the cardigans first and let me show you what they look like. Okay, first let me show you the cardigan that we just made the patches for. This is that beautiful navy blue cashmere, Italian cashmere wool. This is, oh, it's so soft, but won't, let me pull the arm sleeve up. Here we go. There we are. See, won't that look wonderful? I love green and navy blue together, so I think that's just going to be so cute. And I also may make a little pin brooch that coordinates to go with it. Maybe. I'm not sure. So these are now ready to be sewn. Put this over here. Whoops. There we go. Now the other thing that I'm working on, I do some fleece ones. So this is one of the fleece ones that I've completed. I've made the little flower pin, as you can see, to go on it. So nice, so cozy. Would be adorable for Christmas or Christmas morning. You know, you don't want to really have to dress up on Christmas Day. This would be cozy and adorable, and you can just wear it with, you know, comfy black sweats and a little t-shirt or whatever. But I want to do elbow patches on it. So I had some solid black fleece. So I think I'm just going to do solid black fleece on this. And then when I stitch it on, I'm going to use red, because I'm actually going to do this with machine and not by hand. So I think I will do red decorative stitching around it. I think that'd be really cute. So that is the plan for the buffalo check, which I love. I may have to make one of these for myself to wear for Christmas, because that's that, and you know, some hot chocolate, and I'm good. I love this plaid. You guys, if you know me at all, you know I love plaid, mad for plaid, and I love paisley. Isn't this beautiful? I love this material. It's so beautiful. And again, this fleece is so soft. So I made the little flower pin, as you can see, very cute. And for this one, I decided to go with ivory elbow patches. And I thought, you know, what color? I could choose a solid color out of this and do patchworking around it, or, you know, stitches around the decorative stitching. But then I remembered something. I have variegated thread. So this one has all of the colors. And then this one is variegated blue, which also looks good, but somewhere, and I'm gonna have to find it, I do actually have a variegated thread that's white and this teal, exact teal color blue. So I think, and now, you know, when I put it on, I will use the variegated thread, which I think will be very pretty, and do decorative stitching all the way around the outside. I think that's going to look adorable. So just some ideas. I hope that inspires you to want to do some elbow patches. I am thinking about making kits, elbow patch kits with instructions for hand sewing. Hand sewing is a great thing to learn. So, but you know, with these, I can easily do them on the machine as well. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I know it was a little different than what I normally do, but I hope you enjoyed it all the same, and I will be back again next week. So happy sewing and have a great day.